In 2010, Austin, Texas got the skyscraper it had been waiting for. 56 stories of glass and concrete rose 683 feet above Congress Avenue, towering over a city that was rapidly turning itself into America's next luxury capital. The Austonian was not just another apartment building, it was a declaration that Austin had arrived. Its residences were marketed to executives, entrepreneurs, athletes, and people who wanted to live above the noise of downtown. The building had panoramic views, a private pool, a fitness center, a cinema, a dog park, and penthouses valued among the most expensive homes in the city. It was a reported $200 million tower built to make every other building in Austin feel ordinary. But a luxury skyscraper is only luxurious for as long as the structure around you stays where it belongs. In 2014, just 4 years after the Austonian opened, a crack appeared along the outer edge of a residential balcony. At first, it looked like the kind of defect an expensive building management team could quietly repair. A little damage, a little concrete work, a little inconvenience. Then in July 2015, a 6-foot section of concrete broke away from another balcony and fell into the building's 10th floor dog park. No one was hurt, but imagine what that meant. A fragment of a balcony from one of Austin's most expensive towers had fallen into a place where residents, staff, children, and dogs were supposed to feel safe. It was not a loose tile. It was not peeling paint. It was a piece of the building itself. And when engineers began looking more closely, the problem did not appear to be isolated to one apartment or one balcony. Before we get into the engineering behind the Austonian, if you enjoy deep dives into the biggest, boldest things humanity ever built, and the failures that expose them, hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, and it tells me what you want to see next. Now let's get into it. The Condominium Association said that cracks, staining, and concrete distress could be found around exposed slab edges throughout the residential levels of the tower. What residents had thought was a cosmetic issue was becoming a question about water, steel, concrete, and whether an entire luxury high-rise had been built with the same hidden weakness repeated again and again. This is the story of Texas's $200 million tower that started cracking. The story of a 6-foot concrete warning that landed in a dog park. And the story of why repairing a skyscraper's balconies can mean cutting open thousands of feet of the building itself. To understand why concrete falls from a balcony, you have to understand why concrete exists in the first place. Concrete carries enormous weight, but it becomes brittle when forces pull it apart. But concrete has a weakness that every structural engineer knows. It is incredibly strong when you squeeze it. It is much weaker when you pull it apart. Take a block of concrete and press down on it. It can carry enormous pressure, but bend it, pull it, or place it across a gap without support, and it will crack far sooner than most people expect. That is why skyscrapers use steel inside their concrete. Steel reinforcement bars, known as rebar, are placed inside concrete before it is poured. The concrete takes the crushing force. The steel takes the pulling force. Together, they become a composite material capable of carrying the massive loads of a high-rise building. But this marriage only works if the steel stays protected. Rebar cannot sit too close to the outer face of the concrete. It needs a layer of concrete around it, known as concrete cover. That cover does more than make a slab look smooth. It creates a physical barrier between the steel and the outside world. And the outside world is relentless. Rainwater searches for every crack. Heat makes materials expand. Cold makes them contract. Moisture carries salts and pollutants. Wind drives water into tiny openings. And when water reaches steel, steel begins to corrode. Rust is not just a color. When steel rusts, it expands. A corroding bar can increase in volume dramatically, pushing outward on the concrete wrapped around it. Concrete is strong under compression, but it does not like being forced apart from the inside. So it cracks. The crack lets in more water. The water accelerates the corrosion. The corrosion pushes harder. and eventually the outer layer of concrete begins to separate from the steel beneath it. That separation is called delamination. The final stage is called spalling. That is when the concrete surface breaks away entirely. At street level, a small spall is a maintenance problem. At the edge of a balcony dozens of floors above the ground, it can become a falling object hazard. The Austonian was built with reinforced concrete structural elements and unbonded post-tensioned concrete slabs. That phrase sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. A floor slab inside a tower has to span across rooms, hallways, balconies, and large open spaces. If it bends too much under the weight of furniture, people, walls, and glass, it cracks. To fight that bending, engineers place powerful steel tendons inside protective ducts in the concrete. After the concrete is hardened, those tendons are pulled tight and anchored. Think of a guitar string pulled taut across a frame. The string is already under tension before anyone plucks it. In a post-tensioned floor slab, the tendons put the concrete into compression before residents ever move in. That pre-compression helps the slab resist bending and cracking as the tower is loaded. It is a brilliant system. It allows longer spans, thinner floors, larger rooms, and balconies that appear to float over the city. But it also means that the edge of a slab is not merely decoration. It is part of an engineered system carrying loads, protecting steel, moving rainwater, and preserving the durability of the building over decades. If the outer concrete cover is too thin, the most exposed part of the slab becomes the most vulnerable part of the system. And in Austin, that vulnerability began to reveal itself 4 years after the building opened. The first balcony crack appeared in 2014. It was repaired in early 2015. But on July 20th of that year, the 6-foot piece of concrete fell from another balcony into the dog park on the 10th floor. The building was lucky. The dog park was not empty because it had been designed that way. It was empty because nobody happened to be standing beneath the balcony when the concrete detached. If the timing had been different, one falling section of damaged slab could have turned a construction defect dispute into a tragedy. That near miss changed the scale of the investigation. The Austonian Condominium Association hired pivot engineers to inspect the exposed concrete around the building's balcony slabs and rainwater diverting edges. According to the association's public account, the inspection and testing found cracking, spalling, and staining in more places than anyone had expected. The association described the conditions as systemic and progressive construction defects along exposed concrete slab edges at residential levels of the tower. Those words matter. Systemic means the alleged problem was not confined to one balcony. It suggested a repeated condition across a common part of the building. Progressive means the problem could worsen over time. Once water reaches unprotected steel, corrosion does not simply pause because a resident repaints a crack. The physical process keeps going until the source of water is stopped and the damaged material is removed or protected. The engineering explanation that emerged was brutally simple. The reinforcing steel at some exposed slab edges was too close to the outside of the concrete. That small difference in placement can determine whether a balcony survives decades of weather or begins to fail after only a few years. With too little concrete cover, water can reach the steel more easily. The steel begins to corrode. Corrosion expands. Expansion creates internal pressure. The pressure cracks the concrete. And the cracked concrete becomes another route for water. It is a vicious circle hidden behind a clean white or gray balcony edge. From the ground, the Austonian still looked like a triumph. It was tall, glossy, and expensive. Its windows reflected the Texas sky. Its residents looked out across Lady Bird Lake and downtown Austin. But behind the polished exterior, inspectors were finding a problem that could not be solved by painting over a line in the concrete. The association sued the developer, Second Congress Limited, the general contractor, Balfour Beatty, and multiple subcontractors involved in the original work. The legal fight placed a luxury tower's internal anatomy under a microscope. Who selected the details? Who placed the steel? Who inspected the work? Who approved the balcony system? And who would pay to repair a condition that, according to the association, appeared across the building's exposed slab edges? The repair estimate was more than $13 million. For a normal home, a defective balcony might mean rebuilding one deck. For a high-rise, the same type of defect can be repeated on dozens of floors, across hundreds of balcony edges, above a busy downtown street. The solution was not simple cosmetic maintenance. It required an operation on the building's skin. Repair crews had to work from suspended swing stages high above Austin. They had to remove damaged material without harming the post-tensioning system embedded deeper inside the slabs. They had to protect pedestrians, residents, traffic, and workers from falling debris. They had to keep a residential skyscraper operational while cutting into the very edges of the balconies where people lived. The final repair program was enormous. Around 10,000 linear feet of slab edge had to be opened. Workers removed roughly 4 inches of concrete from the edge of the slabs to expose the damaged zones. They removed corroded reinforcement and a misplaced steel bar associated with the low cover condition. They installed new glass fiber reinforced polymer reinforcement, known as GFRP, which does not rust the way ordinary steel does. They also installed galvanic anodes. A galvanic anode is a piece of metal designed to sacrifice itself before the main reinforcement does. When moisture and electrical conditions encourage corrosion, the anode corrodes first. It is a controlled sacrifice, a way of helping protect the steel that remains inside the concrete. Then the crews recoated balcony edges, balcony soffits, and other exposed surfaces to create a stronger barrier against future water intrusion. Every stage of that work had to be documented. The repair team captured more than 5,000 progress photographs. City inspectors, engineers, owners, and contractors needed to know exactly what material had been removed, what reinforcement had been installed, and what condition each repaired edge was left in. Because once a building has developed a pattern of falling concrete, there is no room for guesswork. The repairs were not just expensive, they were difficult because the Austonian was never empty. People lived there. Residents woke up beneath construction equipment. Balconies were inaccessible. Scaffolding climbed the exterior. Sidewalk protection was built around the tower. Crews had to work around wind conditions at hundreds of feet above downtown, where even a loose tool can become a projectile. The repair contractor created a full dropped object protection plan. Tools were tied off. Temporary steel plating was anchored to deteriorated slab edges before permanent repairs could be completed. A sidewalk bridging system protected the public below without shutting down the city around the building. This is the hidden cost of building failure. The most expensive part is not always the concrete or the steel. It is the fact that the building has to remain a building while it is being repaired. Residents still need elevators. Deliveries still need access. Emergency systems still need to work. The street below still belongs to everyone else. And the Austonian's problem had another unsettling detail. Concrete was not the only material that had fallen from the tower. Glass panels had fallen from the building in 2011 and again in 2016, damaging property but causing no reported injuries. The available reporting did not establish that those glass incidents were connected to the balcony concrete defect. They may have been separate problems, but for a tower already dealing with concrete spalling, the visual was impossible to ignore. A building marketed as an untouchable luxury icon had developed a reputation for things coming off its exterior. The companies involved in the dispute did not all agree on what caused the balcony failure. Balfour Beatty said the project had been constructed in accordance with the plans provided and maintained that the cause was never determined. Capform, the concrete subcontractor, said it could not discuss the theories behind the defects and later alleged that design changes affected components of the balcony system, including reinforcement placement. That is why the case settled rather than producing one simple public answer. The settlement amount was confidential. The Austonian Condominium Association said it believed the funds were sufficient to cover the needed repairs and reimburse expenses connected to the litigation and arbitration. A settlement is not the same as a verdict. It does not prove one company caused every defect. It does not mean every allegation became an established fact in court. But it does show that the tower's owners, developer, contractors, engineers, and insurers all recognized that a massive repair program had to happen. And it did happen. The specialized repair contractor says the project was completed safely, on time, and within budget. The damaged slab edges were cut back. Corroded steel was removed. New non-corrosive reinforcement was installed. The exposed surfaces were recoated. The building was given the kind of durable protection that should have existed at the most vulnerable edges from the beginning. So is the Austonian still falling apart today? There is no verified evidence that it is. That is an important distinction. The Austonian is not a story about a tower currently collapsing into downtown Austin. The repairs were completed, the litigation was settled, the apartments remain occupied and valuable. The building still stands as one of the defining shapes of the Austin skyline. But that does not make the story less important, because the original defect was discovered only after a piece of concrete fell. The condition was not obvious from a glossy sales brochure or a drone shot of the skyline. It was buried at the edge of balcony slabs, where a small mistake in the placement of steel met years of rain and weather. The most dangerous failures in a building are often not dramatic at first. They begin with a hairline crack. They begin with a brown stain. They begin with a piece of concrete that looks slightly different from the concrete beside it. Then the material underneath starts changing. Water gets in, steel expands, concrete separates. The building's skin begins to lose its grip. For the Austonian, the warning arrived in a dog park. A 6-foot fragment of concrete fell where someone could have been standing. That one moment forced engineers to look beyond a single balcony. And once they did, they found a problem large enough to require thousands of feet of demolition, specialized materials, sidewalk protection, a multi-million-dollar settlement, and years of work. It is tempting to look at a skyscraper and think the hard part is making it stand up. But standing up is only the beginning. A real high-rise has to survive the ordinary things that happen every day after the ribbon cutting. Water has to drain. Steel has to stay dry. Concrete has to protect what is inside it. Balconies have to hold up under heat, rain, furniture, people, and wind. Every material has to keep doing its job for decades, not just long enough to pass the final construction inspection. The Austonian was built to announce that Austin had entered a new era of wealth and ambition. And in many ways, it did exactly that. But the tower also proved something much less glamorous. You can spend $200 million on a skyline icon. You can fill it with million-dollar condos and luxury amenities. You can make it one of the tallest and most recognizable buildings in Texas. And still, the entire image can be threatened by how close a single line of steel sits to the edge of a balcony. That is the difference between architecture and engineering. Architecture sells the view. Engineering decides whether the balcony beneath that view is still there 20 years later. What do you think? Should developers be forced to fund independent engineering inspections of every luxury tower before residents move in? Or is that just another cost buyers end up paying for themselves? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.